Welcome to our very first Agony Uncle podcast on dead hedgehogs. What we're going to do on this is we're going to hear your problems and we're going to give our advice. And as the saying goes, a problem shared is a problem halved. Me, Stephen Cowboy Kelly, is going to be joined by Chris, the Sledgehammer Gavigan. We have Mikey Salmon and, of course, Peter French Toast O'Toole. Peter French Toast O'Toole, Peter Cassidy. So anyway, it's hard to know where one ends and the other one begins. But listen, guys, we're going to have a bit of crack. That's the main thing. And we're going to go through some of your problems. And Chris is going to be instigating and comparing, and we're going to give now. How are you now, guys? Are you well?
You good, lads?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. All good, man. All good. Looking forward to it. Nice to see you, lads.
What,
Nice to see you too.
Have you been giving out any good advice lately, lads?
Yeah, maybe don't water gremlins after 12 o'clock night.
That's a very 90s and 80s reference there.
I was going to say don't wait an hour after eating to go swimming, but that was shite. But then again, the gremlin one was shite as well.
You know, Pete, that I do not watch movies. So what is that from? I do know the reference.
It's from Gremlins, mate.
Oh, just Gremlins.
Yeah.
Was it a horror movie?
No, it was like a kids movie back in the day. Yeah.
Well, not really, but like, yeah, I suppose it was a kids kind of slightly horror based, but not.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
It's kind of teetered on the edge of being like an adult's movie or I don't know, and a kids movie, isn't it?
It was kind of like, I was fucking shite.
That time as well, yeah. Wasn't there Child's Play as well with Chucky and that? That was out around the same time as well.
Yeah.
And, it was that kind of thing of aiming for ages between maybe 12 and 16, 17, something like that. So
yeah. Well, the whole premise of the thing was, Cowboy, this laddie, he bought this fucking little doll, little shit thing, and it was lovely and cute. And a Chinese booking said, "Don't feed it after midnight and don't get it wet." And then what did he do? He fed it after midnight and he got it wet, and fucking started doubling, started multiplying. But then when it multiplied, the ones that it produced were fucking evil.
They were all mutant
fuckers,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Damn, I didn't get a chance to say it. That was what my girlfriend said last night, just in reference to feeding and
called you a mutant fucker.
Well, on this podcast, if you have sensitive ears, you're in the wrong podcast. But, right, guys, will we crack on to our first message that we got sent to us?
I was just thinking, Steve, there, sorry. I was just going to say, if you guys have any gripes or anything, that do you have any complaints that you want to get out of the way now beforehand? Just your own kind of.
Don't know.
Is there gripes?
Is that against you, Mikey, or against the world in general?
just anything in particular, like.
You know my opinion on. I've been very vocal on lockdown and the overflow, what's going to happen from lockdown. Basically, that's my gripe at the minute. Apart from that, my life at the minute is hunky-dory. Everything seems to be going in the right direction. All I need now is for life to return to normal, really. So that is me. I'm in a good place at the minute, I have to say. Yeah. What about yourself, Mikey?
Yeah, I suppose my only gripe is my own poor organizational skills and how I kind of procrastinate on a lot of things.
Yes.
And every year I'll think, oh, okay, I'll deal with things in advance. I'll organize for stuff, and I never do. Every year I'm like, Jesus, it's nearly Christmas already, and I haven't done all the things I want to do.
Yeah.
The worst one of that was last year with my sister's wedding, and like early on in the year, I got a message from work saying that my passport was out of date because I used it as my ID at work. They said it was out of date. So I had the whole year to knowing my sister's wedding was over in England, that I had to sort out my passport. The day before the wedding, I had to go up to Dublin to sort my passport out. And at the time, I was still in my relationship. So my partner and her 2 kids had to fly from Knock on their own over to London. And then at the same time, I had to sort out the hotel, and they weren't being let into the room. I had to pay it there and then. And then the food service had ended and everything, and they were starving and stuff like that. So it was a horrible kind of stressful thing I put myself through that I never needed to do.
Yeah, you know what? I used to do that. I used to do that years ago, and to a point I still sort of do. It is literally leave everything to the last minute. You think you're going to have loads of time, and suddenly it's upon you. I'd like to think I've improved in that. Years ago I was terrible, but now I try and get it out of the way as quickly as possible. Although, as you know, like when we're going for gigs and that, we're all guilty of leaving everything to the last minute and usually end up in a rush anyway. But that's just Irish lads feel.
Yeah, I'm quite the same there. I leave things to the last minute as well, and it creates a lot of stress in my life.
Yeah.
And I think it's when you get older you realize that it's good to tidy, like little things like tidy and stuff, and then your gear is like ready and stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because I've often flipped out not being able to find a sock, like, or a shoe or something. You know what I mean?
Bad form.
And it puts you in bad form then as well. I suppose it's the equivalent of like a tradesman not being able to find his tools. You know what I mean? But that must have been very stressful, Mikey. Do you know what you should have done, Mikey? And this is what you should have done. You should have broke up the wedding and just broke up the wedding and stopped your sister marrying that man.
Yeah, and cause that's for everyone else, so you're all in the same boat.
Yeah. I was given advice it's like, if you're on time, you're late.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true. That's a good one. If you're on time, you're late.
Yeah, so
I don't fully understand that actually, because
should be 5 minutes early for everything.
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, actually, when I used to work in, I had a couple of years working in Aldi, and they expect you to be there 15 minutes early. That was when you were meant to be there. Like,
what did you get paid for the 15 minutes?
No. But in saying that, look, you got well paid for when you were there, but the Aldi themselves recommended that you be there 15 minutes early for your shift.
It's the same where I'm working. Sorry, Chris. It's the same. You're supposed to be like 15 minutes before you start your shift, and 15 minutes after your shift, you're supposed to stay.
Wow.
But it makes sense, because if you're there 15 minutes before, you stroll in there, not a care in the world, you'll think clearly and you'll get stuff done. If you literally turn up and you're right on the edge of clocking in on time, then everything goes to shit. You know, any handover is a disaster. Like, obviously you have to value your time as well, and you know, giving away your free time is not nice. But for your own for the can itself, it's a lot clearer if you're there a couple of minutes early. You chill out. You don't have to rush anything then.
Yeah, you're very disciplined when it comes to time or anything like that.
I wasn't always though. I was a disaster. It's just habit, like.
Yeah, I wish.
Pete, if you arrive half an hour after the thing is supposed to happen, that's you basically arriving on time.
Yeah.
Although you have got better now. You do.
Well, you see, I kind of got hoisted by my own petard, because I was doing a podcast one day down in a handball alley, and I arrived at the chosen time, and I had to wait like 3 hours for the podcast to take place.
How did that happen to you, Pete?
I don't know. Somebody told me the wrong time.
Did you have a handball with you?
I did have a handball with me. I did have a handball with me. So.
You're not too bad, so.
Actually,
I wasn't too bad. Yeah.
Well, we get on to
So,
the first. We'll get on to
yeah,
the
I was
first
just
one.
going to say we'll get started on the correspondence.
Yeah.
Who have we up first, Chris?
I'm not going to give these names.
No, we're not going to give the names.
So you can read that out there.
Yeah, so I've got a message in. Lads, I have an awful problem. My girlfriend just dumped me and I'm heartbroken. To be honest, I've spent thousands and thousands on her, giving her money for her hair, makeup, new clothes, jewellery, new phone, even helped her out with her car. But I spent €100 on myself and she fucks off. How heartless is she? Basically, this lad spent the €100 he spent was on a prostitute. So she went crazy and she dumped him, basically. And he says, don't use my name, lads, or I'll be single indefinitely.
Which
Well,
is understandable.
I'm confused. Can you relay what I don't understand?
Basically, this lad spent thousands and thousands on his girlfriend. Bought her new clothes, jewellery, helped her out the car, bought her a new phone, spent loads of money on her, and basically he went out and got caught using a prostitute.
Just to kind of, if I was him, I wouldn't really complain about the amount you spent in the relationship. It might be important to him now when he's out of the relationship, but I find like if you kind of share everything, and I know he might think that he was had pay everything, but maybe that was just him in the relationship as well, that he was overly kind of just saying, oh, I'll get this, and then afterwards he realized when the relationship ends he adds up the cost. But I don't think that's the most important thing. And also if he was getting a prostitute, like maybe there was more problems in the relationship on the kind of sexual side than the financial side.
Very, very good, Mikey. But basically, you can't have your cake and eat it either. Let's say you can't, like, anything that you buy for, in my opinion, anything that you buy, especially if it's a gift for your girlfriend or your partner, obviously if a girl buys her boyfriend something and it's basically a gift and they're living together for a length of time, I don't include that. I mean, that's just what relationships do. Some relationships don't spend money on each other at all, and they still work out absolutely perfectly. But I know that if I was in a relationship that any money that I would spend would be just gone, and especially if I got caught using a prostitute, I would expect to be gone. So that would be gone.
I think let me see if I can get this straight. This guy was unfaithful to his girlfriend, and she dumped him because he was with a prostitute. But he's saying that he spent a load of money on her.
Yeah.
So in that sense, he should have a right to have the relationship still opened. Is that it?
Yeah.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It doesn't make a lot of sense. I feel sorry for him, but at the same time, it might be a good lesson for him to not realize that money isn't everything in a relationship. And maybe if he's in a relationship again, he should speak up about. Obviously, nobody wants to be tight in a relationship, but maybe he should speak up and say, it's your turn to buy something this time. And I have a relationship where it's equal parties. It's not like he's buying these things to have her do favors or her to buy her love. You know what I mean? It should be reciprocal in the sense that she wants to buy him something as well. You know?
Yeah.
Another prostitute.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't kind of recommend prostitution or anything like that.
No.
But it seems like he needs to get something out of his system. So I think I know it's hard to break up and stuff from a relationship, but while you're single now, to try and do things that you wanted to do while in the relationship, but you couldn't do because you were in a relationship. So get all that out of your system now before you're in another relationship, so that you can. And also maybe try and save a bit of extra money while you're single to counteract what you're going to have to spend when you're in a relationship. Because obviously when you're in a relationship, things kind of do add up, where you do have to treat them sometimes and be romantic and buy gifts at their birthday and Christmas and Valentine's and stuff like that. So you can't complain about the cost of things when you're in a relationship, really.
Oh, exactly, Mike. I actually I conversed with this lad a little bit more down the thread when he sent in the message first, and I think he went on to see, like, I think he wanted the girl back, and he was thinking about spending money, like obviously not buying her love back, but spending money to impress her or whatever. And I basically said, like, forget about the money that you've spent, but don't be spending any more money. I mean, money is not going to buy your relationship back.
Yeah, I think maybe just send her a message or something, and just maybe it's kind of try and get resolution. Just say sorry about the prostitute and stuff, and just say just kind of say that I miss you, and I wish I didn't do that, and sorry I did that, and say that that hopefully you are happy in your life going forward and stuff. And
and listen, we don't know the full story either. Like, do you know what I mean? We don't know what the relationship was like. Maybe he was being he might have been manipulated to spend stuff, or he might have been tricked into spending stuff, and he feels he might be feeling used or something, or he might have felt like that was the only way he could impress her. Do you know what I mean? I think if he just had maybe better communication in the relationship, and just
you should never spend money to keep someone's love or keep someone interested in you. At the end of the day, if you're spending money hand over fist just to keep someone interested in you, you're already lost it. Like,
yeah.
So you just have to have your own self-confidence levels that money should never be an issue.
No. But then again, don't be afraid to spend money either. Or do you know what? Another piece of advice about money in relationships: if you don't have it to spend on a relationship, explain that straight away. Listen, whatever your name is, Paddy or John or Matt, anything, Mary, fucking anything. Listen, guys.
Oh, you've got a team of them, do you?
I can't at the minute. I just can't spend it on the relationship. But listen, we make it up again some other time. But on the flip side, anything that you do spend on a relationship, that is for the relationship, and don't be like, when the relationship ends, don't be looking for that money back, or that's gone. That's part of being in a relationship. Simple as that.
100%. And I hope he gets back with her. Do you know what I mean? And I hope he realizes that it's not all about spending money. Do you know what I mean? And
if he was with a prostitute,
well, it's like
it clearly wasn't working. He's
like
clear.
The reason he was on with the prostitute.
Yeah, it clearly wasn't working.
So what advice would you give him, Mikey? What advice would you give him, Mikey?
I was just thinking there what Steve was saying about if you don't have the money to spend on in a relationship, and that it's great advice just to say out at the start. And then when, of course, this year you can't do it, but like when you could go to places that were free, like museums or libraries, or go out for walks, or maybe do stuff you enjoy together, baking at home, it doesn't cost too much, or whatever it is.
The red light district.
But to Pete, I don't think he should try and get back with her. He should just kind of try and move on and try and
get another prostitute.
I think so too, Mikey.
So what advice? Good stuff, Mikey. That's good stuff there. I'm just trying to figure it out in my own head. Like we're not hearing the full story. Like something must be going wrong in the relationship if you had to go to a prostitute in the first place. You know what I mean?
I want to hear from the prostitute side.
Yeah, regardless
yeah.
of that.
I don't think we're getting sidetracked. We shouldn't be
we're getting
focusing on
sidetracked.
that.
We're getting sidetracked.
We-
Sledgehammer, what advice would you give to him?
Forget the relationship you had was gone, so it's time to bury that onto another. Find a girl that you like and you just like hanging around with. You wouldn't have gone to a prostitute and you definitely wouldn't have got caught if you actually liked her. So you just forget about what was it. If you've been stung before, just forget about it. Go again. Find another girl. Not worry about it.
Trust is gone at that stage anyway. So
yeah, but should he message her and just apologize and have some closure?
Just apologize.
Yeah, I think he should just message her, have a bit of closure, and apologize and say.
Right, she's clearly embarrassed. He's embarrassed about this whole situation.
Yeah,
it's not good for anyone.
And it's good that he's contacted the page and talked about it. You know, I know we're kind of we're a bit tongue in cheek about it as well, but we're not making fun of the situation. We're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
So
it's not her fault, you know.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be mad at her in a way.
Yeah.
He's got to be a man about it and just take responsibility for what he done. Apologize to her, bury the hatchet, and then just move on. Like we've all made mistakes, you know.
Yeah, and I've got like in the threads, I'm feeling this is a young relationship or a young guy, so he live and learn from that.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Just there's loads of people he can talk to if he's frequenting prostitutes often. He can talk to people and get help for it. You know what I mean? Like you know. But I think we move on, lads. What do you reckon? We'll move on to the next one.
I think so. I think we've solved that one.
I hope we give that guy.
I hope we've given him
any help at all. Have we given him any help at all?
I think so.
Okay. Do you want?
No, we'll read out Bob Park. I think this one is the next one. Pete is especially for you. It was Bob, a man called Harry Park. He wanted to give a message to his brother. His brother is on the sauce a lot lately, and he was hoping that you might give him a few words of wisdom and just to sort of like tell him to ease off on the drink a bit. And his brother's name is Bob Park, and they're from Carlisle in Cumbria in the UK.
The thing about the drink is it's fucking mighty crack, like. Do you know what I mean? Especially you got a crowd of ringers like yourselves there, and he probably has a crowd of ringers there with him as well, and it's great crack. But what happens is sometimes you're just drinking because you're bored, and you the crack, you're trying to make the crack with the drink, but the crack should just enhance the crack. Do you know what I mean? It shouldn't be the crack. The crack should be good, and then the drink should enhance it a small bit. It's like a little lubricant. You know what I mean? But you shouldn't be dependent on it. But I'd say to your man Bob, I'd say just look after yourself, maybe do a bit of exercise and get a different hobby for a little while and take a break from it for a while and maybe get a bit fit and look after yourself, eat some nice food and do you know what I mean? And just look after himself and that's what I think. And just take a break for maybe a week or two or something.
Mikey, have you ever felt sick of the drink yourself?
Yeah, basically these times now where I'm just basically drinking on my own in my house, like I feel like I've got a slight problem because it's not that I'm drinking loads or anything like that, but any time I am drinking, I'm just drinking by myself and just to get drunk. So I feel like I want to try and maybe stop doing that and just do something else, enjoy times by myself without alcohol. So because when it's nice when on occasions when you're with friends and stuff like that, and you're all having a few drinks, and that's enjoyable. But once you're just kind of drinking on your own in your own house to get drunk, it's possibly not a problem.
I think it's much harder. Like Pete gave some good advice there about, you know, getting active and finding a hobby and getting out there. It's that much harder in the winter time when it's wet and it's damp and the weather to go out for running it's easier in April when the weather is nice and warm or whatever. But this time of year, people generally look outside, they're a bit depressed, they'll sit inside. They might end up having those couple extra drinks for no reason at all, especially in lockdown situations. So I can understand that part at the moment, you know.
Yeah, I think drinking.
And if you have like maybe spirits or stuff in your house, and you want to try and stop maybe drinking them, maybe bake or cook with them and stuff like that to kind of get rid of them, but you're still kind of using them in a practical kind of way rather than just
drink
I'd say
should only be used when you're in good form as well. I used to drink when I was in bad form, and it was always a bad concoction. I had a love-hate relationship with drink. I love the crack, and as you know, I love the drink. I love pints and everything like that. And I think part of why I run so much, and you know this, Pete, is to keep me focused away from the drink as much as possible, because if I didn't have other things to focus on, so maybe just get something else to focus on, running, any hobby that you like, jiu-jitsu, P, anything like that, get into, that'll make you think about having a few drinks the night before going for a run or whatever like that. So every little bit that you're not drinking always helps. But enjoy it, and I'm not preaching here. Enjoy your drinks when you are actually drinking, and go into it in good form. And as you said, Pete, it's not deep crack; it is a lubricant to the crack. It sort of enhances the crack.
Yeah, I think we've all been where we're drinking away, and like if you're on a night out where you're not on the booze, it's fucking hard work being around a load of drunk people. Pete, you've done that probably more than me.
Yeah, no, it is hard work. And obviously none of us here are fucking medical professionals. Well, apart from Mikey is a medical professional. But we don't have expert opinions on, you know, people with substance abuse. So if anybody needs any help, we'll probably post a link when we post this up. Do you know what I mean? We'll post the numbers and websites if anybody needs any help. But I'd agree with you there, lads. The fucking drink is a funny one, and especially in Ireland, we have a funny old relationship with it. It's kind of whimsical. He's a whimsical fool. He's fond of the drink. He's great crack, but underneath it all, he's a fucking lunatic for the alcoholic. Like, do you know what I mean? But there's a funny old culture in Ireland with drink, and it's kind of washed under the carpet a bit. But it's good that we're having a conversation about it, because it's
Pete, I would agree with you there, but I am not a medical professional either. I definitely am. Also, I was just going to say there is like forums and online things. We'll put links for everything, and to just maybe talk about it with a complete stranger will help him as well, because it's just anonymous, and just maybe he'll get across what he wants to say, just rather than his brother might be a bit too close. And
his brother might be only seeing him when he's hungover and stuff as well. We don't know the family dynamic there, where he might only see him on a Sunday, and Sunday he's hungover, but like he might be 100% the rest of the week. He just goes
exactly.
And then and your man might drink. Who knows the situations here? So
basically, what we're trying to say is treat alcohol with like a bit of respect, and it'll respect you. That's easy to say. Look, we could go out next weekend, or we could go have a drink here in the house and get absolutely hammered. I wouldn't like to think that I do it every night or every weekend or every few weeks. But listen, I think you just have to treat it with a little bit of respect, and it'll respect you that little bit better as well.
And do you know what he could do? Do you know what he could do? The money he saves from not drinking, he could get a prostitute for himself.
Hey, that has never gone wrong for anyone.
Okay, we'll move swiftly on. I think Liam texted in. I tried to get out of an engagement with the Mott, and the plan backfired like in 1982 Ford Cortina. Her father is the most anti-gay man I know, so I made a pass at him. How do I get to stop sending me? How do I get to stop him sending me dick pics?
Come on now, take it serious.
So listen, I know I've known this character online, so I'm 99.9% sure that this is a piss take, but it's a very funny very funny story. Can you imagine making a pass at your father-in-law to be, and him actually trying to get out of the relationship, but him actually turning around and actually sticking the head in?
No, I can't imagine that. I don't have a bride to be, so.
Well, I'm just projecting, but anyway. So that is that funny story. Thank you very much, Liam, for sending that in. Up next we have Chris. You hit me with it, and I'll just go from what I know. That's the very man. And hold on. Go no, there.
Oh.
That one. Right, we do that one. So this is another serious one. Your recent post, you said. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to read this lad's name out because this was probably the most serious message we got in, and I had a little couple of messages back and forth to this lad, and it just goes, well, Bucks, in your recent post, you said to share your problems as it helps to share. So here it goes. I'm in my junior cert year in school and had a rough start, and we've been off for 5 odd months, but now I'm getting really nervous in the mornings. Sometimes I get so bad I physically get sick. I've had mental issues in the past. That's the reason I'm worried to talk out there. Like there's some nights I'd be rolling in the field I'd be rolling in the bed with the horrors. How do I tell my parents what's really going on? Right, and another thing, lads, is I'm going to say as well. In other messages, I have only one message up here. We went on to talk, and his father is obviously a hard-working farmer, and he does be out helping him. And his father hasn't been well of late, but he's still out working on the farm, and he's trying. This lad is trying his hardest to help his father out. But it's obviously affecting his time, worried about the junior cert, and he's having no time to himself, and he's suffering in his own head at night, and he feels like he's absolutely no time for himself.
That's tough. That is tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Very tough one. And he like this lad finds it. He finds it hard not to self-harm.
Okay, that is tough. Well, like as we said earlier on, we're not experts. We're just creating this thing here to have a platform for people to talk. Do you know what I mean? It's good to talk, and they say if a problem is shared, it's a problem to have. So it's good that he's reaching out to the page, and it's good that he's reaching out to you, Steve. And it's good that you've been talking back and forth to him. So that's the first step. You know what I mean? He should be very proud of himself that he
should be proud of himself that he's reached out, that he has a problem. He knows he has an issue, and the junior cert. Obviously the junior cert brings its own pressure, but I think the junior cert isn't. He knows himself that the junior cert isn't really where the issues lie.
Yeah.
He knows that himself, that it's not the junior cert. There's something in the fact that he's even thinking about self-harming, and he's feeling this type of pressure. He's not finding a way to control his emotions. Does that make sense? So he's done a brilliant thing in reaching out to the page.
Yeah,
he's done really well there.
And this is the sort of topic and message that, like, we want people to feel like they're able to reach out to us and we can help them with. Like you said, Pete, we're not medical professionals, we're not psychologists, but we're giving our opinion and hoping that it helps, because some of these guys would value maybe our opinion just as much as a psychiatrist, or they've watched like the sketches, or they've watched the series and that sort of thing. So like for a lot of these people, the likes of UP and Mikey, you'd be idols or people that they'd look up to. So, you know, it's great that they were able to reach out. What I thought, the first thing I said was, you'll never feel right if you're not sleeping. So that has to be addressed straight away.
Can you say that again? Sorry, can you repeat that? I didn't hear it.
This laddie's having difficulty sleeping. So that's compounding the issue. So he's having a hard time sleeping. Maybe he's looking at too much social media. Who knows why he's doing that? When he's lying there awake, he might be stimulating himself with that stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. And you know, he's not turning off his devices. That would be the first thing that I would think that would make sense. That if you want to sleep properly, turn off all the devices.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we have to say, maybe think what's happening in school that he's nervous about school. Is he getting bullied at school? Is there something going on in school that he's nervous about going to school? Mm-hmm. And also, yeah, like you said, Chris, if he shuts off the devices maybe 2 hours before he goes to bed, and that'll help him sleep, or even read or something. Do you know what I mean? But I'd say there's lots and lots of websites out there, and we're going to send a link with this video. There's Spun Out, there's Jigsaw, there's mental health awareness. There's loads of websites out there that he can get help, and he can read up on it, because he's not alone. He's not alone. This happens to a lot of people, and he might think that he's alone in it, but he's not alone at all. He can always message the page here. He can message any of us individually, and we'll talk to him as well. And but the main thing is that he's not alone at all, and there's plenty of help out there for him to get it, and we're going to post a link. But I'd say, from our personal point of view, I'd say if he gets out, does the work with his father, and maybe tells somebody, just tells
I think he has to be honest with his parents.
Yeah, definitely. I think
I was going to say that, like, with the junior cert stuff, if he's struggling with the junior cert and school stuff, I think maybe just that might be the easiest thing to tell the parents about, to say that he's struggling with that, and then maybe if he needs to call his GP to talk about the self-harming and the not sleeping and stuff like that, to contact them. And as Pete said, there's a lot of stuff online where it's all anonymous, and you can talk to people who are probably going through similar things, and that might help as well. And to just, if it's helped to contact us on social media, and Steve or any of us, if you want to contact us directly, that would be fine as well.
I think I don't know about you guys. Well, just when you think back to school, it does seem a much bigger deal than it is when you leave school and you're in your 30s, and school doesn't mean a fuck anymore. Like it was a part of your life that is almost a little bit restrictive. You know, you're at the mercy of doing whatever anyone else tells you to do anyway. The pressure is always on you to perform in exams and stuff. It's a weird couple of years for these kids, like, you know.
It is 100%, and there's more pressure now with the internet and stuff and social media and stuff like that. But yeah, school isn't your whole life. Like, Do you know what I mean? That's what I'd say to him too. School isn't the be all and end all of everything. Do you know what I mean? There's been loads of successful people that haven't went to school or haven't even done the junior cert. Not that I'm saying not to do the junior cert, but I'd say, you know, I'd say he might think right now that this is his whole life, but maybe in a month's time or even a week's time, he might feel a lot better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also this lad, like he doesn't want to let his father down. He obviously really respects his father, and he knows that his father is a hard worker. He also like he doesn't want to be let him down. But I know for a fact that his father would rather, like most fathers wouldn't want to see their sons or daughters suffer in any way because of them. Do you understand
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like maybe he feels under pressure to perform for these tasks and these work and these chores for his father, and his father has no idea that he's just so exhausted from them.
Yeah, I think his father doesn't want him to feel like this. That's one guarantee.
Yeah, one guarantee.
His father doesn't want him feeling like this, and he just has to, like, he's been honest with himself and being honest with us.
Yes.
You know, so that's one of the hardest thing to do, to go, fuck, I've got a problem. I'm actually, like, I'd be worried for him that the self-harm is an option, you know, but for him, he has to come clean to the parents, tell them that he's having an issue and that he's struggling, be honest with them, and they will help him get some help. And once you have some help, that there's loads of ways of like the likes of Jigsaw or Pieta House, you know, they will, you know, they'll help him get to where he wants to be, and they'll help take the pressure off, help with the home life, help with his relationship with his father, or whatever it is that he needs to do to get right.
Plus, I also think if you can't, just a piece of advice for anyone, not just this lad, if you can't, especially young people that can't communicate with their parents, your parents don't know what's wrong with you unless you tell them. And if you feel it difficult to actually verbally tell them, well, I know that I've used this trick in the past when I've been a naughty boy and was trying to break news to my parents. I used to write stuff down and actually write it in a letter and stay in the room until they had read. And that way it was the same thing as like telling them. And I just thought it was a great way of communicating with them, that if the words can't come out of your mouth,
you could put time into thinking what you really need to say.
Exactly what you wanted to say, and let your mother or your father read it. And but I would say, if you can at all, stay in the room while they're reading it. And it was a great way of communicating, and that way it was out in the open, and then you could discuss it then all you wanted then after that.
Yeah, 100%. And if he doesn't, even just writing generally, even if he can't get the step to tell his parents, even if he writes down stuff himself, do you know what I mean? It's a good release as well, do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that type of pressure is tough on a young person, because you got to remember that if you're doing junior cert, you're 14, 15, 16, around that type of age. And all your good years are ahead of you. All your real life experience, that, like, all the stuff that's going to happen ahead of you it's like, there's going to be shit times, obviously, but you've got all the good stuff ahead of you. So you shouldn't worry about exams. Exams don't, in the long run, make a huge amount of difference.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going. It's not going to be the defining part of your life how you do in the junior cert exams. You know, and
so listen, guys, quickly, as quick as you can, what advice are we giving this lad before we move on?
Yeah, I was just going to say about the junior cert and school and stuff. As Chris was saying, it's not as important. Like, try to do your best in that, but I'd say your dad would be more proud of you because you're helping him out in the farm and doing being more helpful that way than like if you did a bit poorer in exams. You could maybe just say that you're struggling a bit, and I'm sure they wouldn't be upset with you at all for any results in school. It's more that you're being more helpful at home, and you're doing this, and as well, Chris said, your whole life is kind of in front of you. To don't focus too much on aspects that are happening now, to try and kind of think that down the line you're going to be thinking, why was I this stressed or worried? Why didn't I try and do something about it? So try and either write down your thoughts and give it to your parents, or tell your parents, or tell a complete stranger, and try and get a good night's sleep, and try and focus on your own mental health rather than what your parents are thinking.
Pete, do you ever wake up in a cold sweat, and how you did in your junior cert or your leaving cert?
No, I can't even remember doing the junior cert, to tell the truth. And I had a tough time in school because I got diagnosed with dyslexia when I was, well, not really a tough time in school, but I was grand, like, but I thought I was awful stupid at school because they never realized I was dyslexic. And I only went back as a mature student to realize I was dyslexic, and hated exams. My favorite subject was PE, and PE and just lunch was my favorite subjects. Do you know what I mean?
Pete, I don't understand dyslexia. Can you spell it for me, please?
I was so bad I once wrote a letter to Satan at Christmas time for Christmas presents. But what I'd say to him is, he also has the teachers there he can talk to. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure he seems like he's studious enough. The teachers there he can talk to. I'm sure there's teachers he can talk to. And I'd also say to him as well, if he doesn't want to tell his parents, there's loads of groups that he can chat to online, and there's forums. But I'd also say, get plenty of food into him. Do you know what I mean? He's grown as well. He's 14, 15. He's grown. Maybe his father's making him work, and he likes the work, and he's proud of him for doing the work. I'd say maybe eat a bit more food, healthy food, and he will sleep, and he will get through it. This is only a blink of an eye in the larger scale of things. He'll be older. He'll be in his 20s. He'll be in college, or he'll be working. He'll have he'll have money. He'll be driving a car. Have so much freedom. Do you know what I mean? And
money on even girlfriend. He'll maybe get a prostitute.
Yeah, we won't recommend that. We won't recommend that. So I'm saying is, you know, and watch something that's funny. Do you know what I mean? If he likes the Hardy Bucks, watch the Hardy Bucks and have a laugh. Do you know what I mean? And even dance around your room and put on some good music. Do you know what I mean? And the most important thing is that he reads up on what he thinks he has, and he's not alone. He is not alone. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I'm gonna say that one of the first things I do is sort out the sleep. You'll solve nothing on no sleep. So find a sleep pattern that works for you. Get your sleep in. Take every day as it comes. Set out a routine for yourself. I actually don't think it's the junior cert, the inter cert. That shows you how far I'm going back. I don't think it's the junior cert that's the major issue. I think it's the fact that he feels like he can't communicate with his parents. I think that is a must to sort out straight away after sorting out the sleep, or during sorting out your sleep. Talk to your parents, see what the issue is. I can guarantee you your parents love you to bits, and they won't want to see you suffering, especially mental health. And just good to talk. Like we said, we will put numbers up at the end of this video. But if you feel like you want to contact the page or any of us, please do. And never feel like you're alone. And obviously you're a great worker. From what I can gather, you're a great worker. And keep it up. Obviously, the junior cert is important, but it's not. Just do your best. Simple as that. No one's asking for any more.
That's exactly it.
And that's it. No one's asking for any more. And like that. Listen, lad, you seem like a lovely, lovely lad. And
well
done for reaching out.
Well done for reaching out. That was brave. That was very brave to reach out. You know what I mean? So fair play.
you know.
And so he says as well that he'll meet us in a few years for a few pints. So we will definitely hold him to that. A few sociable pints.
Right.
Okay, so we have Chris.
This
You
I've had, so this message came in. I've had a pube stuck down the back of my throat for the past 2 days. It's not budging. How can I get it gone? Please help. Now, I just, before we get into this, this is quite a notorious problem for people that live in Barcelona and grew up in Bray. Just very specific, a very specific niche type of person.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Chris?
but like, yeah, what would you do for a pube stuck down the back of your throat for 2 days?
Jesus Christ.
Chris thinks he has an idea who this guy is, so he has some
my guess.
I'd say okay. There's two options here. He could try and make it go down, or he could try and get it up. Pardon the pun. But
what would you take?
I think he should just drink loads and loads and loads and loads of milk and yogurt and just keep drinking.
Yeah, and don't let it happen again.
Which way would you want it to go, Mikey? Up or down?
Depending on how deep down it is, probably forcing it down is better than dragging it out. So maybe crust of bread and kind of.
Yes, crust of bread would be good. Yeah. I think we should. I think we should move on.
Yeah, I think. What's next?
Maybe a bit of personal grooming and stuff. Whoever he was with,
I think it's pretty light from here on in.
Chris, where can they contact us? Where we send these?
You can send if you want to keep it very anonymous and send an email to dead.hedgehogs.channel@gmail.com. I'll put a link up. You'll see in all our social media posts, or you can send a message to the Facebook page, the 3 Bucks Left Facebook page, or the 3 Bucks Left Instagram page. But if you want to keep it a little bit more anonymous, you can always send an email.
Right, guys, I have it. Sorry about that. I thought I'd sent it on. Okay, I'm not going to read out this name as again. Well, lads, looking forward to the first episode of the podcast. My topic I want to put forward is to ask, have any of the 3 of ye, or 4 of us that are here now, had problems dealing with your inner critic and tackling negative self-thoughts head on? I've dealt a bit with social anxiety in the past few months, and just wondering if you lads had any experience challenging your anxiety. Cheers, boys, and congrats on the podcast.
Thanks for writing in. That's brilliant. That's brilliant for you wrote in. I'll let you boys go first. I seem to be talking a lot.
No, you're not talking.
Mikey, how do you find your inner self-critic?
Yeah, it's just that it's always there and it kind of never shuts up. So it's hard to sometimes kind of keep it at bay and try and sort out, just to try and keep on top of things and to reduce kind of stress and anxiety that you're feeling, kind of helps with your inner critic. So just kind of being maybe more organized, maybe planning out a couple of days in advance, or writing down, maybe keeping a diary or something like that to get your thoughts out of your head, or talking to someone about it, whoever it is, whether it's family or a girlfriend or boyfriend or something like that, and or if you can't do that, just maybe writing or going on some websites and talking to people who are going through the same thing. To it is difficult, like sometimes
it's a tough, like I know that I used to be very, very hard on myself. That feeling of failure was almost crippling at times. You know, you like if you felt that feeling of I fucked myself on that, like, you know. And I suppose the one thing that I found that I changed in myself was that failure, well, there's loads of great sayings, but like failure is, there's no such thing as a failure. You're either winning or you're learning. That type of mentality.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, but that again, it's a habit as well. You have to constantly be trying to remind yourself that you're a project yourself. Does that make sense? You're only one person. You're only working to better yourself so much, you know. So, and if you fail, that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, of course not. Being a self-critic, it can be healthy. I mean, it can drive you on to better yourself. It's just, it needs to be there a little bit, but it's when you're so self-conscious that you start losing your own self-worth. You're so important, and as Chris said, you're either, you know, if you're not winning, you're learning, and that's just the way it is. And anxiety, I think we've all, me speaking personally, my anxiety levels go through the roof when after drinking. So, like I said, I love the drink, I love the crack, but the couple of days after drinking, my anxiety goes through the roof. You feel self-loathing. You think that you've no friends. Your family don't even love you. What are you doing on this world at all? You feel worthless, and that couldn't be any further from the truth. So when you're feeling like that, you do feel like these things. You do feel self-worthless. But in the cold light of day, and when you're good, and you're your proper self, you're definitely worth every beanie is worth something, and like never ever doubt that. And if you like that as well, if you ever doubt in yourself, talk to someone.
I was going to make a joke there, Steve. I was talking to your family. They don't like you at all.
No, Steve, you're probably right.
I'm only joking. Of course they love you. No, I'd agree with you 100%. I heard somebody say one time about the inner critic. If you wrote down all the things on a piece of paper that you say to yourself, if you wrote them all down, all the bad things that you're saying to yourself in your head, and you look at them all, and can you imagine you saying them to somebody else? You'd never say them to somebody else, or you'd never let anybody else say them to one of your friends. So that just shows you how irrational all this negative self-talk is, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of it is like, I remember listening to a guided meditation once, and they were saying about your thoughts. Your thoughts are like waves. They just come in waves. They don't define you. You could have fucking crazy thoughts, like, you know, like fucking, there's mental thoughts out there. Like I use in the stand-up, like headbutting and giving a granny a lick out. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, do you know what I mean? But these are the crazy thoughts you get in this, you know, but that doesn't define you. And he should think that it's like the weather. It's going to change in a few minutes. He's not defined by them thoughts, but it's good that he has an inner critic and he can talk to people as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if what you have to, it depends where he's at. Being critical of yourself and your work, that can be, as Steve said, really healthy. That can drive you on to greater successes, or it could be, you should be your own worst critic in what you're doing. You know, there's always room for improvement. But if it's becoming a crippling thing where you can't function to your best ability because of what you're saying to yourself, another great saying was your body will go in the direction of your mind's most prominent thought. So if you're very positive and you have a very positive outlook on what you want to achieve, if you have that self-belief, that will push you towards that. But if your most prominent thought is, this is going to be a failure, dead hedgehogs, this is going to be a failure, it's not worth investing in, it's not doing this, it's not doing that, then of course it's not going to work. You've already decided for yourself. There's a reason why we're pushing out and branching out beyond what we've been doing, because we believe that it's going to be a bigger platform for not just the 4 people that are sitting here talking about this right now, but because we don't know who we're going to be able to bring it along in the future, you know.
100%. And even if we help one person with these agony ants, do you know what I mean? It's well worth doing this hedgehog. You know what I mean? And even if the venture does fail, we're still going to learn something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know? And I think it's brilliant. Your man wrote to the page, but he seems like he's a very ambitious person, which is a good thing. Do you know what I mean? But I think he should have his goals set out. There's an acronym for goals. I think you told me about it before, Chris. SMARTS, I think it is. Specific, and you can measure them. It's an acronym, and SMARTS. So I think if he can measure what his ambition is, he can realize where he's going wrong with it and where he's going right with it. Do you know what I mean? A lot of things is what he's doing right as well. Do you know what I mean? So some of the critics he have mightn't be practical at all. It might be just negative self-talk, and he might get in a spiral. So he could teach himself maybe to do some meditation or something and to change that talk. Do you know what I mean? That he talks to himself. And it's almost like when we're playing handball, Chris. We'd play handball and I'd miss a shot and I'd be like, you fucking bollocks, and you keep saying that. This is a very layman's term, but like you see a top golfer, he hits a shot. The top golfers don't go fuck. They go, okay, how did I miss that shot? What happened there? And he tries to do a swing again the next time, and then he gets it right the next time. That's the same with your ideas and your thoughts and your self-talk. Do you know what I mean? That's what I can relate to it there, you know?
Like it's very much about being methodical and being logical over emotional. A lot of your self-criticisms and what really pushed you to be very hard on yourself is usually to do with not being able to control your own emotions in certain pressure situations. If you've got deadlines, or if you've got KPIs, or if there's something that you have to do for work, or in a personal sense, if Mikey was talking about at the start about getting a passport and having all that stuff organized, you have to start by just taking action. One of the best things about, you know, you'll get rid of all your self-criticism if you're taking action immediately. Do something positive. You know, we needed lighting. We'll go and get lighting. Don't think about it. Just do it. You know, and then everything gets a little bit better. You know, so and that's again a layman's term, like the handball. If you want to get better, the first action in handball was to go and play more handball. Play with someone better than you. Ask questions. There's so many more ways to.
Of course.
And that self-criticism disappears.
Yeah. And like that, you use the self-criticism to
drive you on.
Better yourself. And obviously, never give up on your first attempt or your second attempt. Obviously, if you're doing something for 100 times and you're still not getting a hold of it, well, then maybe it's time to think of something else. But in general, the more you do something, the more you practice, the more you put into something, the more you get back out of something. So, and that is the way it is. Anxiety is in every one of us, every single one of us, and that no one ever tell you that it's not. It's just how you cope with it that counts. And like that, it's good to talk.
Yeah, it's
100%, yeah. And if he's anxiety, just exhale. People say a lot about breathing in, but nobody ever talks about exhaling. Just, do you know what I mean? And take a few seconds, count to 10, and realize everybody feels the same way sometimes. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Like ye three have done lots of live shows. You've done Vicar Street to hundreds and hundreds of people. Like, do you think that you would have got to those levels of success either or being on TV without being self-critical?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And but I think sometimes when people are creative people, they're actually more self-critical than people that aren't creative. Do you know what I mean? But everybody can be creative, but they're too hard on themselves sometimes. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at a video sometimes, I'm like, no. And then if that's the case, you'd never do anything. Do you know what I mean? You're too critical. Almost your analysis, what is it? Paralysis by analysis. So you can analyze yourself too much and you won't do anything. So you nearly as well to just put something out there and just get it done.
You actually still like do that thing. You're still sort of like you're very you want it to be right, and you're always worried that it's not right, and instead of just going for it sometimes.
It's 100%, 100%, yeah, 100%. And then you could be doing that till you're fucking dead, like. Do you know what I mean? Till you're 80. You know?
You might miss the actual, or like we've done so many videos together there where if you're constantly trying to get it right, you might miss what was the whole point of doing the video in the first place.
Yeah.
100%, yeah, 100%.
I think that there, Mikey.
Yeah, just as well, maybe the image of yourself and what your own critic inside is completely different to what everyone else sees. You, whether it's at work or with your family or whatever, they might see you in a real positive light and see you really achieving, whereas your inner critic might be like, oh, that was wrong, or this was bad. It's strange that way, like, and to maybe not focus on things that you've done in the past or stuff that you think are failures, to just go forward and try and do things.
And if all that failed, just get yourself a prostitute.
We're not.
But also,
your advice for everything, Chris.
Let's see where
that was tongue in cheek. That, but also, I think what happens with a lot of people is they believe Instagram and social media that they think it's real, and they're comparing themselves to others. That guy shouldn't compare himself to anybody else. He's his own man. Do you know what I mean? Or a woman or whatever, and he shouldn't compare. Like, it's easy to look at somebody else and think, oh, their life is perfect. You know what I mean? But it's not theirs.
With anyone else either. I mean, I'd never go, oh, look at Paddy John down the road there. He is a brand new second BMW or a brand new Audi. I couldn't give it a shot. Like, I love the fact that, like, there is no Paddy John down the road. I was only using that as an example.
But who has the new Audi?
No one has a new Audi. Or things like that, or like looking wild.
Yeah, it's that there is an element of like Irish begrudgery. That's especially small towns. There's always going to be an element of that, and that can feed into your own criticisms as well.
Of course. But on a larger scale, I think social media is tapping into that in an international. It's tapping into it.
Yeah, like very few people put their full life's warts and all on social media for a reason. It's not glamorous to put up the times where you're not actually happy.
Of course.
You know, so social media is not telling you the full fucking story.
Exactly. We're living in a world of mirrors, you know what I mean? And we're all putting our best face forward on social media, and it's fake. So if your man is looking at social media, this guy that texts in, it just makes him realize that it's not real. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember the guys that came to the gig in Dublin and Westport from Boston?
The couple, is it?
Yes.
The married couple.
Well, Michael, the husband, just texted us to see would we give a big shout out to his wife, Christina. I'm not even going to try and pronounce her second name. I could never pronounce it. It's like Polish or something. I'm not even going to try. But Christina, listen, Mike wanted to say that he loves you so much, and and I just wanted to relay that. And we have a story. We have a story to tell you about these guys. These guys came on their honeymoon to Ireland and came to Westport to meet me, Mikey, and Pete over in Westport.
For a gangbang, was it?
And we were only really just doing an appearance in one nightclub. Which nightclub was that, guys?
I'm not too sure. It must have been the Castle Court, was it?
Court, yeah. But they ended up like we weren't even doing a show on this particular night, but they were going back on this Friday, and we were playing in Dublin on the Grand Social on Saturday night, and they actually changed their flights and give an extra 3 days to themselves just so that they could come to the gig. So they just wanted to give a big shout out, or Michael wanted to give a big shout out to his wife, Christina. So that's it. That's job done.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Good stuff. Sound, guys.
Okay, and another message from Derek's in Belfast. Myself and Mikey met this guy, so I'll let you read that.
Yeah, lads, I have no problem. I need help with. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're 3 top men, and I love you. Love the stuff you put out. Can't wait for all this lockdown crap to end for you guys and back on the road again. Saw you in Belfast in February. French Toast bailed as he was unwell, I think, but Cowboy Salmon and Terry Norman put on a great show. Keep well, which is a nice message.
Yeah,
kind of called you out there, Pete.
He did. He called me out there, and nobody ever commented. Nobody actually commented on the gigs I was at.
Yeah. That is the only gig that Pete didn't make. That is the only
unprofessional, Pete.
It's very unprofessional. But I heard it was great crack. I'm sorry I missed it.
That Pete didn't make, but what can you do?
Yeah.
So listen, we can't wait to get back to doing the gigs either when the time comes right. And,
yeah.
We'll see how it goes. So listen, guys, that is our first podcast for Agony Uncle. Hope everyone enjoyed it. And it was great to chat with you guys again, and I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It's great. And hopefully we can help people, and we'll share the links when we've just finished, you know?
Yeah. So just and for the next one, make sure you send in your issues if there's any at all, or send us in some stories.
And anything, just like that. We have a few lined up for the next day, but we would love to hear more, and we would love to help out. And we will be sharing the link of actual professionals that are in this. But if we can help out at all, that is amazing. And I hope you enjoyed the crack. And until the next day.
Yeah.
We chat to you.
Looking forward to seeing you lads again and doing this next week.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. It was great crack, lads. And if there's anybody out there, just stay away from the prostitutes, really. Just stay
away from prostitutes. And slow down the drink.
Unless you need to.
Forget
it's lockdown after all. Some lads might be lonely. I wouldn't say no to
them. Yeah, sure. We're not criticizing anyone here. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right, lads.
All right, guys. We'll leave it at that, will we?
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you guys too.
Bye.
Bye.